In 1975, the government of Cambodia did something no modern government had ever fully attempted before. It abolished private property. Money disappeared, markets disappeared, religion disappeared. Even family loyalty became suspect, and within days, armed soldiers were emptying entire cities at gunpoint because the new rulers believed they could build a perfectly equal society if they first destroyed every part of the old one. The group called itself the Khmer Rouge. Led by a revolutionary named Pol Pot, the movement promised a radically purified communist future. No classes, no inequality, no capitalism, no Western influence or private ownership, just pure collectivist revolution. To many exhausted by war and corruption, the promises sounded hopeful at first. Cambodia had already endured years of instability, bombing, and civil conflict. The Khmer Rouge presented themselves as disciplined reformers who would sweep away corruption and rebuild society from the ground up. What they actually planned was something closer to social demolition. On April 17, 1975, Khmer Rouge forces captured the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh. Then almost immediately, the city was emptied. Families were ordered into the streets at gunpoint, hospitals were cleared, elderly people, children, and wounded patients were forced onto roads leading into the countryside. The government claimed the evacuation was temporary. It was not. The new regime believed cities themselves were corrupt, intellectual life was corrupt, commerce was corrupt, education, individual ambition, all corrupt. The ideal society, they believed, would consist of obedient agricultural collectives where private life disappeared into revolutionary labor. Money was abolished because markets created inequality. Private property was abolished because ownership created independence. Religion was abolished because loyalty to God competed with loyalty to the revolution. Even eyeglasses became dangerous because they suggested intellectualism. That is one of the chilling realities of ideological revolutions. Once equality becomes the highest political value, individuality itself begins looking suspicious. Teachers disappeared. Doctors disappeared. Business owners disappeared. Anyone associated with the old society risked imprisonment or execution. And because collectivist systems require constant conformity, paranoia spread quickly inside the regime itself. Neighbors informed on neighbors. Children were encouraged to report disloyal parents. Confession centers and prison camps multiplied across the country. At the infamous S-21 prison, thousands of prisoners were tortured until they confessed to imaginary conspiracies against the revolution. Most of them were executed. Meanwhile, the agricultural system the regime believed would create abundance began collapsing under coercion, fear, and impossible production demands. People starved, exhaustion spread, disease spread. And because totalitarian systems struggled to admit failure, the government responded not by questioning the ideology, but by searching for more enemies. By the time the Khmer Rouge regime fell in 1979, an estimated 1.5 to 2 million people had died in a country with a population of roughly 8 million. And perhaps the most disturbing part is this: the movement did not begin by promising mass death. It began by promising fairness, purity, equality. A new society free from corruption and selfishness. That is the danger of utopian politics. Once leaders become convinced they can redesign human nature itself, every obstacle starts looking immoral. Every independent institution becomes a threat. Every dissenting person becomes an enemy of progress. And eventually, freedom itself becomes intolerable because free people refuse to fit neatly into ideological systems. Cambodia learned that lesson at catastrophic cost. That's another story in freedom's long history.